Hello friends, Mr. E here, and we have a little bit of a teaser trailer for the new enemy, the Ogryn houndmaster, that's going to be coming out with the new update, which is TBD, but soon, I guess. This boss, this is apparently was released yesterday on their YouTube channel, but was not pinned alongside their actual dev blog about the monstrosity. So I guess I'll be covering it here today. And you know, if you want to catch all the stuff for Darktide, subscribe to Mr. E, I suppose. Okay, let's begin here. Let's just go ahead and watch the trailer, and then we'll talk about the boss and its design, and we'll talk about, is this a new level that we're looking at? Alright, so I mean, that's it. Ogryn Hackmaster approaches. There's no date or anything associated with this, but I want to go back here and let's take a look at our boy himself. When he's coming up on top of the hill here, if you go back frame by frame, you can actually see that he's got two weapons. He has this giant thing over his back, which you can't see the head of, but they did mention in their dev blog about there being like a shock prod or some sort of like taser sort of thing where he can stun characters and slow them down. But he has a massive fuck off hook on this hand, which it would be weird, I feel like, if he couldn't use this. So what can he do with this? Like right now we've got bosses that can pick you up like the Chaos Spawn, but can this guy perhaps grab you and yank you forward towards him for follow-up attacks, right? Could he displace you in some way? Because I think that's a really important role that bosses fill right now is, yes, there's enemies in the game that can kill you, but really only bosses can push your character around. So like a Plague Ogryn or a Chaos Spawn can just keep bumping you. What if this guy can not only chase your ass down, but can like stun you and then yank you out of position and pull you into him for further beatdowns? Interesting thoughts here. Now, there has been some discussion about like what he does to dogs, because they had said that there is some sort of special interaction with the Arbites dog if you set the Arbites on him. Obviously, this guy knows how to handle a dog. Maybe he is, finally, the Ogryns have learned how to deal with a Puxhound pouncing them. I would guess that he probably just manhandles the dog and just like grabs him and picks him up and takes him out of the combat for a certain amount of time. I don't think that they would convert the dog. That seems a little bit weird, because then you just suddenly don't have one of your most, basically like, why didn't you take Lone Wolf for the next like 10 seconds or however long it takes to dispatch the threat. It seems like maybe he'll just like incapacitate the dog for some amount of time. Maybe he takes him and puts him in his pouch, like he just puts him in his backpack, like you're mine now. You're mine now, little puppy. You come with me. That would be pretty funny. I can't wait to actually hear this guy talk and see like what sort of taunts he has for our player characters, because he is intelligent enough to speak, which is a pretty cool development. Now, of note, let's talk about the like design of this enemy, because I've seen a lot of people who are a little bit worried about, you know, this sounds like it's going to be a nightmare. Oh my god, he's fast and he can slow you down, and he's got dogs that are pouncing on you, and there's carapace armor involved. Really, honestly, I think this is more the direction they need to lean with their bosses. Sorry about the noise, little jump scare there. The problem that they have with bosses for the longest time, and they learned this through Havoc really, is that bosses in isolation are not scary. You know, you just throw a boss, you throw a Plague Ogryn at your team, and they immediately all just turn on it and explode it in like 3 seconds, right? Bosses are scary, and bosses make impact on the game when they're accompanied by other stuff, right? They are sort of like the siege unit, and then all the other infantry is what can make use of the chaos and the discord that the boss sort of sows. So in Havoc, what they started doing is when you get a boss spawn, you're guaranteed to get a wave of specials, you are guaranteed to get a horde wave with it, so that you can't just immediately go, well, there's no enemies around here, let's just all laser focus murder this thing. And then that's really the best encounters you'll have, is like, holy shit, like, we have so much to deal with. Then the boss is in here and he's just like wreaking havoc, and he like separates the team, right? And that's really the power that a design like this has, where he's never in isolation. He's got his dogs with him, so you can hard focus him, sure, but then you're gonna have to worry about like horde and other elite, enemies and specials, plus his own dedicated specials that aren't as easy to dispatch as regular dogs are. So you just have to kind of split your attention, which I think is good. Also, because they have said that this boss is going to be a map spawn, like you'll see him on the map before he shows up. TBD whether or not he actually can just show up on a map like surprise bosses like they normally do when you trigger a boss spawn. But they have said that at the very least, these guys will be, you'll know when you're going to encounter one on a map if they're just roaming around and they're just out there, because you'll see you'll hear him, and you'll have the armored dogs in his presence, because he's the only one who can summon these armored dogs. And that to me says, okay, this guy is probably going to be like scaled higher than your normal bosses, because if you think about it, like normal bosses on Auric difficulty have like 50,000 HP. And they have that much HP because, hey, you know what? If you're already dealing with a horde and all that stuff, and then surprise, here comes a boss, you don't want it to be like this overwhelming force that just like makes it impossible to fight the fight now, because this guy can't be, he's got so much HP. You would need your attention to focus on him to really take him down. You would need to prepare. But if you got a boss and you're showing your hand, like, okay, guys, the boss is right up here in this next room. Everybody ready? Everybody loaded up? Everybody got their abilities ready and stuff? Like, then you're going to want to stack the odds in favor of this boss. So I'm thinking that they're going to load this guy up and have him have some extra HP. Like, he's actually going to be a difficult encounter, like, i.e. the twins, kind of, where because you know what you're getting into, then he's going to put up a fight. He's not just going to roll over. Or at least I hope, anyway. I would hope that they would do that some sort of balancing. Now, the thing that people are most worried about, at least from what I've seen in forums and Reddit and YouTube comments and stuff, is the dogs. They seem to think that, like, oh my god, it's dogs, which are invulnerable apparently, plus carapace armor, which literally makes them invincible. The problem with carapace armor, like, let's talk about the carapace armor thing first. Myself, I make a big to-do. I make a lot of hay out of carapace armor because it's annoying as fuck. But you know why carapace armor is annoying? It's not because it exists at all. It's because it exists on one specific enemy who has 5,000 fucking HP and is head to toe clad in the stuff. The Crusher, right? If the Crusher had open weak spots that you could attack, carapace armor wouldn't be a big deal. But it's a big deal because if you have a weapon that can't hurt carapace armor, there's literally no way you can combat a Crusher, right? You're just going to be there for 8 years trying to kill the motherfucker. With these dogs, though, they are completely vulnerable to attack as long as you're not hitting them in the carapace spots. And I think the way they've done this is pretty clever, right? When these dogs jump at you, let's get the head-on image here. Where is he? Yeah, when these dogs jump at you, and to me, by the way, this looks like carapace because it's plated armor, right? And this like 3-hole thing looks exactly like one of the Crusher helms, so I'm thinking this is 100% carapace. So this, when the dog jumps at you and comes towards you, the easiest way to deflect a dog is to push them when they're in the air coming towards you, right? And then they have a huge hitbox, they get knocked backwards, and they sit there on the ground, they're stunned for a second, and you just walk up and stab them in the head. But if you carapace armor the whole front of him, so when he gets knocked out of the air and he's prone on the ground for a second, and you run up and stab him from the front, he's not going to die instantly. Now the dog gets a second chance to get up and run away. And then he can come back for another engagement. So either you need to reposition yourself and get behind the dog to get a death stab on his butthole, or a little bit more clever thing to do here is actually do a little bit harder of a takedown. Let the dog jump at you, but dodge instead, and then either push him when he's in the air and he's like over you or past you, so that when he lands, his back is already facing to you. You don't need to move from where you were. You just turned around and stabbed him as he was behind you. Or if you're really swag, you slide under the dog and you stab upwards into his belly, because you can bullet slide underneath dogs when they pounce at you, if you didn't know that. So I think this is actually cool, because one of the biggest problems that I have with dogs, I think dogs are a fun special enemy. I think they're one of the only specials that's doing their job as intended in terms of like announcing themselves. But right now there's such chaff because they have almost no fucking HP, and the entire map is on fire and exploding at any given time because of all the, just random explosion bullshit classes we have. And these guys will die to like literally 2 bullets from anything. So they're just getting kind of swept up with, everything else that's going on. They don't really get a chance to do their thing unless you've got pretty much like existing hounds have to get lucky in order to do what they're doing, which kind of sucks, right? They should be able to be intimidating enemies that you're not just like, oh my god, I fucking got pounced by that dog accidentally, right? You kind of want to see them coming and still have them be intimidating in that way. So I think it's good that they're giving them a little bit of extra HP, and they're making them slower too. So like it's not hard to sort of predict where they are. I'm anticipating that they'll have like a jingle clanking noise to when they're running around with this armor on. So yeah, I actually kind of think this is a pretty cool idea, and it'll open up more counterplay to dogs than literally just like shooting them 3 times with the las gun at like long range and watching them burn to death, which I'm all for. I like to have intimidating enemies in the game, and I think that's a problem. Is like people are like, saying, oh no, this enemy looks like he's gonna be really annoying. Yeah, I certainly hope he is, because he's supposed to be a boss. He's supposed to be kind of a big deal, and like when you have enemies that are supposed to be your quote unquote bosses, like the twins are fucking annoying, right? But the twins are one of the coolest boss encounters in the game because they are actually fucking scary. Like, you feel good for beating them because they're bastards. They're seriously bastards. Okay, let's go back here because there is something that I really want to focus on here. This might be a new map. I think this is actually a new map, and I think it actually might give us an inkling of where we are going with this update. So let's watch back again. I'm gonna put it on mute so I can just yap, or low volume so I can yap. But look at the background here. I want you to note we do already have these what are they called, hourglass maps that are mostly sandy and stuff like this. And obviously there's a lot of reused assets. But one thing I want to note is that on the hourglass maps, you have like an overhead framework of the city. There is still spire to City Tertium above you. On this map here, though, this is completely open to the sky. This is like, there is no hive city around that we can see. And look at this heat hazing effect. Like, it looks like we're seeing the mirage effect in a desert. Like, it looks hot as fuck out here. It looks like miserably sweat-inducing. And the current maps in the hourglass, yes, they're sandy, but I don't ever get that feeling of them being hot like this. And this shot right here really tells you all you need to know. Look how open this sky is. Like, this is not a map. I'll tell you that for free. Like, that's pretty obvious. This is not an existing map. And I don't think they're in the business of rigging up, entirely new areas for in-game cinematics that they aren't going to be using. So are we getting another outdoors style map akin to the trenches, but in a different part of Atoma? So if you didn't know, by the way, Atoma, the planet that City Tertium is on, is actually like devoid of life. Like, it's fucked outside of the Hive City because they have ruined the ecology of this world by extracting resources and doing all the shit they need to do to make Mobian steel. So basically, the entire area around the Hive City is a wasteland. And this is exactly what I would imagine this looks like, is a completely barren wasteland. And so this could be one of the maps we're getting. We know that there must be some sort of new location we're going to because there's a new hangar being installed in the Morningstar. Could this be literally like Chaos Wastelands? God, I'm on the hopium so much for Chaos Wastelands. It's not even funny. But yeah, this could be sort of one of the locales we're going to. My only hope is if, like, yeah, we're going to be seeing a series of maps out here. Hopefully there is a little bit more variety than just being sun-baked desert, because although that is cool, I would like to see a little bit more color than like yellow, like a lot of fucking yellow. But I think like a cool like junkyard style map exposed out here could be cool. Of course, everyone really loved the Atoman Trenches map on No Man's Land. Beautiful map. Like, that map is gorgeous. And I don't know why I said it like that, weirdo. And even though it's like an absolute blasted wasteland in its own right. So I think this will be a cool map. We don't really get a good look at it here, but it does give me, I would say I'm like 100% certain we're at least getting maps with this update. We got at least one new enemy. We're getting at least one new map. So we're off to a good start, guys, for this update. Anyway, that's all I have to share. Really milked this one, huh? Shit, 35-second video, 15-minute into a 15-minute video. Man, what do you subscribe to Mystery for if not for that, right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to go watch some Daniel Henschel. You guys have a good one. Love you. Stay safe out there. Mystery out. Bye-bye.